Hello, everyone in the 5 continents, and welcome to another. Could you please stop? Hello, everyone in the 5 continents, and welcome to another edition of our International English Online meetings. This morning, we have a very good friend of ours, Marcela Burgos from Argentina. Hello, dear Marcela.
Hello friends, hello colleagues, and hello dear Jaime. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having accepted our invitation, dear Marcela. If you give me a few seconds, please share my PowerPoint to start our meeting. And here it is. So today is October the 5th, 2025, and this is our 137th International English Online meeting. It's been 5 beautiful years. If anybody wants to watch our past webinars, you can watch them in our YouTube channel. Now, our upcoming guest speakers in the following months are in October, we will have Isadora Pereira from Brazil, from Brastisol. She will be talking about Do You Walk Your Walk? Professional development, your journey, your responsibility. Then in November, we'll have our friends from Paratisol, Paraguay, who they are Rocio, Carolina, Cynthia, Maura, and Remigio Diaz. They will be talking about autonomous learning, teaching English in different contexts, using theater to teach English, engage, study, activate with adult learners. And then in December the 7th, on December the 7th, we will have our friends from Asoc, Colombia, Kathy, Adriana, and Claudia. And who is our guest speaker today? Well, our guest speaker is Marcela Burgos from Argentina. She will be talking about culture in the language classrooms, the whys and hows. Some information about Marcela. She holds a postgraduate diploma from East Anglia University and an MA in professional development for language education from Leeds Metropolitan University, UK, Fulbright Scholar in Ohio, USA, and British Council Scholar at the Hornby Summer School in Brazil, Academic Director at IELI Institute. She also teaches at secondary and tertiary level institutions in San Pedro de Jujuy. Something else, former president of AJPI, Asociación Jujeña de Profesores de Inglés, and member of Rotary International. She has presented at national and international conferences on the importance of incorporating elements of culture in the EFL class. So that is a little bit about our good friend Marcela. Thank you, Marcela, for being here, and the screen is all yours.
Thank you. Now I will share.
Okay.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can. It's coming.
Okay,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
hit slideshow. There.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So as you can see here, I am in one part of Jujuy, which I don't live at, but this is the most touristic place where everybody wants to go and see the beautiful colors in the mountains, okay? This is in the north of the province. As Jaime introduced me before, I am Marcela Burgos, and I love talking about culture in the ELT classroom. So today, I'm going to start by making you listen to a song and watch a video about the different landscapes that you can find in Jujuy. Are you ready?
Yes.
Fingers crossed that the audio is okay. Jaime has told me that everything will be okay, so I trust him.
Do trust me.
Can you listen?
No.
Can you hear that?
No. Maybe when you share the video, you forgot
Okay.
to share.
Even if you cannot hear, just watch a little bit of the landscapes.
Okay.
As you can see, there are many similar places to Peru, I think.
Yes.
It is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I love Argentina.
In the weather and the landscape. This is part of the culture to the Pachamama, the Mother Earth that we have on the 1st of August. We say thank you for everything we have been granted by her. You can see the features of our skin, our hair, a mixture of cultures, as is typical of Argentina, a country of immigrants. So you have desert, you have mountains, lakes, jungle. I belong to this side, the jungle part. Okay. Why are we here today, dear friends? I would like you to answer to this question before I give you my answer. Why are we here today? Dear Mary, what do you think? You have been to many, many presentations. I don't know about Paola and Freddie.
Yeah, they have too. They have too. I've been working with Paola and Freddie for many years. I came because of you, because I really wanted to be with you and experience what you want to share. My dog wants to as well. I don't know if you can hear them barking. I love culture. I think culture is also something really scary for teachers to teach because they might be thinking they need to be teaching culture from a particular country, from the US or from England, just because that's what they imagine with the language. But culture is everything, everybody, everywhere. And I think it's so rich. And I think that bringing culture into the classroom helps us be more human and helps us honor our own culture. And then it makes just the learning come alive because it's so interesting. At least for me, it's interesting to learn about other culture. It was so beautiful to see your photos from Jujuy. Oh, it's so beautiful. I feel so honored to have had one opportunity to go to that corner of the world.
Yes,
I mean, I was in Salta, right?
You visiting us. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I
And I went up to the salt, is it the Salt Lake? It's not a lake, but it's the
Yes.
salt. Oh, and the nature there is gorgeous. So, I mean, that aspect of culture, I think is, culture is so deep. It's not only the physical thing, it's our habits, it's our values, it's our history, it's our family.
That's right.
Yeah.
You are
So
completely
I'm
right.
here to be with you.
Thank you, Mary.
And I'm also here because I love Jaime.
We are Jaime supporters.
Yes.
What about Paola? Would you like to share with us why you're here? I know it's because Mary invited you.
Yeah. I'd also let you know that Eugenia is here. Hello, Eo. Nice to see you.
Yes, Euge has just entered.
Hello, hello, everyone. Hello, so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Hello,
Sorry, I
Euge,
couldn't hear.
dear
Yes,
friend.
I turned off my camera because there a lot of rain these days here. It's amazing. So if I don't turn off my camera, I cannot listen sometimes.
Okay.
So
Okay,
repeat
Paola.
again the question.
Why are we here today? That's the question of the beginning of the presentation.
Yeah, of course. I saw the title of the presentation. Say, wow, I love it. It's one of the things, as Mary said before, that the teachers are very curious, and when they try to teach this topic, it's a little bit confusing for them.
Yeah.
Even though we have a lot of foreigners right now here in the country, so for me, it's a very interesting topic.
Thank you. What about you? What about you, dear Euge?
Sorry?
Well, I am here to support my friend, Marce.
Yeah.
To support Jaime, who also is a very generous person and usually gives us these moments to share. And it's a pleasure to be here. And sometimes, as I cannot join every Sunday, and I could today, here I am supporting this fabulous group of teachers, meeting Mary also. And it's great to be here. And culture for me is a very interesting topic that, as Mary was saying, we think or we find generally quite challenging, but I think it's a great way to engage our students and to show them that real life is part of the language classroom. So it's a great way to connect things, to connect the
Thank you.
dots.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you,
My
thank
dear
you.
friend, what about you, Freddy or Felipe? Are you there or are you cooking soup like Mary?
No.
I see me some cup of coffee.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, right. So hi to everyone. I am Felipe. I'm from Bogota, Colombia, but actually I am working in Santo Tomas University in Tunja.
I was there,
So
Felipe.
yes, great. I am here because my boss, I mean Gladys, she told me to be here, but I also find very interesting the presentation Marcela Burgos is about to do. And sorry, I do my best in English. It's not my proficiency. I am a French language teacher.
Bonjour,
But,
bonjour, Felipe.
Bonjour, enchanté.
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 I'm sorry for the camera. I have to solve some technical difficulties, but
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
I am here to learn and to talk as well. But have a great time. I will have also a great time. That's it. So I appreciate this space.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Felipe. And
Merci beaucoup.
say hi to Gladys Leonor Rodriguez, please, and all the
Yes.
wonderful
Okay.
people from Santoto.
Yeah. Okay. Great. I will. Thank you
Merci
so much.
beaucoup. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup. So we have Freddy now.
Okay, good morning again.
Good morning, Freddy.
Well, I'm a culture lover. I always seen culture as a very close part of the language. Actually, I
Wow.
think that culture is the body of the language. Culture embodies language. I'd also like about how culture influences in the way that we speak. So the way that we speak is the way that we live. And the way that we live is reflected from our culture. So that's the reason why I'm here. I'm really interested. I'm a very curious person in terms of culture. I like to travel the world. When I retired, I'm planning to do that. So thank you for having me. I'm here.
Thank you, Freddy. Thank you, all of you, for sharing with us why you are here today. Well, I am here today because of an invitation from Jaime, who, as Eugenia said, is very generous, and as we all know. So thank you very much, Jaime, for letting me be part of this World Educators community that you have started back in 2020.
Yes,
Wow, that's a
unbelievable,
long
isn't it?
Yes. And I think that what I love about this community is the sharing
Yes.
that goes on constantly in the group, because people are not only sharing resources, but also sharing information about events and sharing what they are publishing. So we grow because we have all this information available in the group.
And the
Thank you
most
very
im-
much, Jaime,
and
for
the most
having me
important,
today.
Marcela, they
Yes.
share their time.
Yes, that too.
That's
Because
important.
even if they are not here today, you have all the recordings available. Is that
Yes.
right? So that's the reason why we're here today, guys. And let's move this over here so that we are more comfortable. Yes. Okay, wait. Back. Why am I going that way and not the other way? Okay, there we are. Let me see again. Okay, the agenda. You have introduced me, and I have something else to say, but we are also going to define culture again because Mary started. She was being a spoiler. I almost kicked her online under the table, but we're going to define culture again. We're going to talk about authentic materials and to redefine them. We're going to explore different ways of introducing our culture in the lessons, because this is something that we generally postpone, and I will talk about that too. And I will share experiences done in virtual classes with my students. Okay?
Okay.
So here it is who I am with short hair. I am a person, as Felipe or Freddy said, very interested in culture because I am from the north of Argentina, and for 23 years I was married to a Polish man who knew a lot about other cultures and shared them with me, shared that knowledge with me, and I grew as a person and as a professional, sharing my life with him. This is our family, the kids when they were very young, the kids when they were not so young, and now the kids are 20, Alexander, and 15, Max. But this is our new family now. The kids not young and not so young anymore, and the addition of Brownie. I was talking about Brownie before. He's a dachshund, and he takes all the attention in the family because he's a new member and he's like a baby. We have to take care of him, feed him, give him a lot of love, and he's waiting for me every day when I come back home. Why is it that I cannot? Okay, there it is. For two opportunities, I've been a host family. I had people from Europe coming to live in our place. This is Matteo from Italy, and he stayed with us for a whole year, sharing with us his culture. I learned a lot from him, not only as a foreign person living at home, but also as a teenager living home, because at the time he came, my kids were still 11 and 8 years old. So it was the first time that I could experience the changes in the life of a teenager when I had Matteo living at home. He, apart from all the things about the language and the food and the culture, he also showed us how different it was being from the capital of Italy, Rome, and from other parts when he got visitors coming to our home. They used to tease him saying, oh, he's not Italian, he's Romanian, or he's from Rome. They like inventing words to tease him because of his attitude towards life. People from capital cities, they are straightforward. They are very confident. They know they can take the world in their hands. And sometimes people from the other parts of the country or the provinces, as we call them in Argentina, don't have the same attitude. And when they meet, they have these kind of conversations. This is another girl from Italy coming home. She was not from Rome, and we could experience with her another thing because she was a girl, and I was raising boys, and I had the previous student who was a boy too. So this was my first time as a mom of a girl. Jujeña knows about that because she's raising two, but I didn't know anything at that time. So again, not only the culture of the country and the culture of the language and food, but also the culture of teenagers because they have their own. And a teenage girl. We have been talking before, dear Mary, you mentioned that culture is not only the language or let's say what we theoretically know as it is, but a lot of other things like values, as you mentioned. What else can we add? Music. Can you tell me more words about culture? Not definitions, just random words that come to your mind.
Food.
Food.
Values.
Values.
Celebrations.
Recording in progress.
Yes, celebrations, very important. We saw in the video the Pachamama celebration. As teachers now, do we know why is it important for language learning? Do we ask ourselves these questions? What are the different types of culture? And how is culture learned and understood? Sometimes we don't have time for that. We are planning things about the material that we already use at school. We are taking into consideration many other factors, but we generally don't think about culture by itself when we plan. So I think that this definition of culture, like a framework of assumptions, ideas, and beliefs, is quite accurate. These are used to interpret other people's actions, words, and patterns of thinking. That is to say, to understand how and why people behave. And also, as teachers, we need to pay attention to intercultural competence. Not only because we are foreign teachers teaching a foreign language, but also because we can use our own language in the foreign language. Our own culture, sorry. So what is intercultural competence? The definition says that it is the ability of a person to behave adequately, between inverted commas, in a flexible manner. That is very important, to be flexible when we meet people and when we travel and when people visit us. In a flexible manner when confronted with actions, attitudes, and expectations of representatives of foreign cultures. That happened to me, for example, talking about being flexible with the actions and attitudes. The first time I got an exchange student who was Mateo, he used to smell the food. And for me, it was shocking because it's like in our culture, you misinterpret that. And you get offended by that if somebody does that in Jujuy, for example, to smell the plate of food in your own table is like, why is he doing that? But then, as time passed by, why are you smiling, Jaime?
Because that happened to me.
Okay. You are having a deja vu now.
Yeah.
I've been there. Imagine the poor kid getting something completely different from what he ate at home, like our local food. He needed to smell because it was part of his incorporating the new culture. This happened many years ago, but I used the example to make my students reflect on how flexible and how flexible we should be when we meet other people. And also maybe to bear in mind to tell other people if we visit them that you're going to do that because you need to incorporate the culture maybe so that they don't get offended by your actions. What kind of students are we teaching today? Coming back to our role as teachers, these kind of students. So we try to talk about things we do, but sometimes we don't meet them in the middle, which is technology, right? Or for them, technology is crucial. It's part of their everyday lives. And I like also to include here this video that probably you will not hear, but anyways, this is the little girl.
Yeah, we can hear.
What's up with this phone?
Siri, are you there? Be a joke, right? It's the actor. It's Instagram. We're gonna check. Snapchat. Sorry, taking me the internet right now. Because it's working. I can't handle this. I'm frustrated. Oh, this is not gonna put this. Just take this off. Who plays ping pong? Charles, are you punking me? I'm gonna get you, boy. You're over. You're done with this. No bittiness was more. I'm a boss girl.
Okay, these are the kinds of students that we have. They get frustrated if we tell them just read and get the main idea. It's like, what? I can ask ChatGPT to give me the main idea. Why do I have to read? And we need to find a balance. So they are right, they need things immediately, but it is also nice to have to get the process, as Jaime mentioned before. The process is important too.
Yeah.
And the thing that we need to acknowledge is that they are from a different period in time for us. We are not that fast on technology as they are, but we can meet them in the middle. If the topic is important, if the topic is well prepared, and if we find a way to make it interesting for them. Book of methodology, we need to go cubist now. We need to find different ways of looking at things and not just as we used to do before. Materials, for example, either or or bigger and we could use materials. And you that was and the revelations is the same. We have to learn about cultural regions, things that
Hello, Marcela. Your internet, Marcela. Eugenia, is it?
I think she has connectivity issues.
Yeah, she has problems. So let's keep on talking while we are on air. How do you manage, Eugenia, culture in your classes? How do you marry? How do you, Ophelia? Oh, hello, Ophelia from Mexico. How do you manage your classes, your material? How do you prepare classes to talk about culture, to include culture in your classes, Eugenia?
Well, what I usually do is I try to connect, as we work with textbooks, I try to connect the issues that are presented in the textbook with some, as a parallelism to, with some topic that brings culture into the lesson. So at school, we generally think of culture as an extra topic and we make connections. We've done whenever we work on sports, whenever we work on music, whenever we work on topics related to food, as what usually happens is that globalization. We have students from other countries. So first of all, we acknowledge those kids from other cultures and we ask them to bring information about their own traditions, what they do, the sports in their community or in their countries of origin. But what we do is, first of all, to acknowledge those who belong to different cultures and are immersed in ours. And then we start exploring and we bring information of other countries that are relevant to our kids. As I said before, I like this real life connection, you see, bringing things that happen outside our classroom, outside the English classroom, and that are related to the word.
Okay, that's interesting. What about you, Mary? You got people from different parts of the world all the time and students from different parts of your country.
Yeah, I have a framework for culture that I like to use both for thinking about the culture of learning in our classroom and the culture of and bringing culture into the classroom, and also using the culture of the people in the classroom. So I feel like it comes in, it's multifaceted, and I think all three of those are really important to include. The framework comes from Pat Moran. It's called the Cultural Knowings Framework. And so it has 4 pieces. Sorry, I'm also now having a little piece of chocolate. I wish I could give some to everybody.
Maybe in a
Chicken
few
soup is
years.
finished, and now it's time for chocolate. So the 4 parts of the Moran framework is knowing about, knowing how, knowing why, and knowing oneself, right? And so a lot of times we just teach the knowing about part and we learn about culture, or I tell people about what they have to do in my classroom. But the knowing why piece and understand is fascinating to me. And it's like one of the things when I was teaching English in Japan many years ago, we invited a professor from a university who was visiting from China. And my students did a bunch of research so they could have questions for this visitor. And one of the things that they thought was really funny was that
Coming back.
welcome.
Oh, sorry, Mary.
Okay.
Our guest speaker is back.
Let's go.
No, you finished saying what you were saying, Mary.
Okay, finish saying what you were
Okay, so
saying,
just quickly,
Mary.
we had a visitor from China. My students were doing research, and they found that they had to have licenses for their bicycles. And my students thought that
God.
was really funny, and they were laughing, and I was embarrassed because they didn't really understand the why. So knowing why would it be important to have licenses for riding a bicycle, and when there's that many bicycles, or when there's all these reasons why, but so knowing why helps us. How do we make sense of somebody else's cultural realia, practice, value? So that was really helpful when we started to explore the why. They had a lot of aha moments. But then there's the knowing how to do something, and then knowing oneself. We always teach culture with the lens of, how does this help me understand my culture and me better?
Yeah.
And if I'm learning about some other cultural practice, what are my limits in learning that or understanding that? Or, so for me, that my students were laughing, and Mary was embarrassed, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I have a limit here around the culture of learning in our classroom and how we treat each other. So anyways, that was my little story about the framework that I like to use. But Marcela's back.
Very interesting. Yay. I'm back.
Welcome
okay.
Back.
So we were talking about the authentic materials, right? The things that we can find around us. But also there are some times when teachers, at least here in Jujuy, felt the need of creating their own material. And this is one colleague of mine who wrote a book. Jaime asked me if I had written a book, not yet, but this girl, Carolina Guerrero, has. She graduated in the capital of the province, San Salvador de Jujuy, but her job is in rural areas of Jujuy. And she found out that the material she was working with didn't get to the students' interests in class. So she said, I need to find a way of making this like something they really want to know what happened. And she created this story. So she used all the vocabulary and the grammar that she was teaching with the other material and created this beautiful story about the girl and his pet animals, but look at the pets. It's a llama, the pet, not just the dog as we generally have. I do have Brownie, for example. And this other girl, she wrote this other teacher from Jujuy, she wrote this book called The Magic Tree Mailbox during the pandemic. So she created the story of a teacher communicating with her students, also in a rural area of Jujuy, through a tree in the middle of the square. She used to get there the homework for the kids, and the kids used to get it back for her in the tree, and the tree was called the tree mailbox. So these girls, these teachers, these young teachers found a way of incorporating their own culture, the local culture, into their everyday life as teachers. Because the material helped us improve the vocabulary. They had to do a lot of research about ways of calling things in English, things that students use in their own language, and making it interesting for them, and also motivate them to read about these stories in English. So how can we incorporate elements of culture then? Through images. Through images, it's the most important part because we teachers use a lot of flashcards and presentations, so images are important. And if we're talking about using our own culture, we have to find out what we have around us. Our culture is very rich, and I'm only thinking about Jujuy, but I have done this presentation in different parts and in the south of Argentina too, and they mention things that we don't have in Jujuy. And I said, wow, this is so interesting, because when you prepare something, you're thinking locally. But when you share it with people, it becomes global. And I love that of talking about culture. So use what you have around you, because your culture is rich, your local culture is rich, and is ready to be shared worldwide. For example, here we always take people to the different sites in the province, and we ask them to pose with their flags, and that makes the picture more interesting when you share it with your students. Also, the general WH questions can be used not only with the regular images that come in books, but with our local images. This is what you were talking about, I think, Mary. You've been to Salinas Grandes, right? And there you can see that there is nothing around, and you can compare it with other places if you have been to, or if you're interested and you have watched videos or movies about them, like the Uyuni salt lakes in Bolivia. If you have adult students, because this is alcohol, you don't work with this with children. But if you have adult students, you can do the compare and contrast exercise, because I have found this in Peru airport. Look, Jaime.
Yes, I'm listening.
Going through Peru airport, I found this and I got them because I like the hats and everything to show my students. And you have to make it personal. You have to tell a story, a joke, an anecdote, something that will link the image to the experience in class. For example, here, I can see that Eugenia is missing in these pictures because we have been to many other places, but I didn't include the diques, dear Euge. We should be, rowing the boat here. But Gustavo Gonzalez, you know him because he has presented here many times too. He loves Jujuy every time, as Eugenia too. Every opportunity they have, they come back to Jujuy. And so I have many anecdotes and stories to tell my students about these visits. Also, Martin from Buenos Aires, I have a special anecdote about this, and that's why I included the little animal here, the llama, because he took one souvenir for his young daughter back to Buenos Aires, and he created a whole story about the llama, the baby llama, and he named the baby llama for his little girl. So I tell this to the students and they get very interested. And why did he do this? And how did he call the baby llama? And everything has to be in English. So I create the interest through the pictures. This is another friend from Bariloche. And we are tasting different food here in Jujuy. We're also going shopping. This is Susan. I think she presented here too, Susan Hilliard. We went shopping with Susan too. Look at the colors around. These are the sweet treats that you can get in Jujuy. And what I do with the students is that we find the recipe, we find how they are made. They have to explain, they have to make a TikTok video and explain how these sweets are made in 1 minute or 30 seconds. And if they like them or not. Some children don't like these sweets, so they say, you prepare this like this, but I don't like them, right? Or in the way they do the TikToks, you know, with emojis and with the different effects. So there is always a story behind the image. And what I always recommend is to be yourself and use your talents. So if you like cooking, you can prepare. You can actually take things to the classroom and do something with the students. Also, if you like sports, I have a teacher that likes trekking, and so she shows pictures of her different trekking sessions in different parts of Jujuy. If you like decorating, you can do the things, the actual things with the students, the art crafts. Or if you are like me and you like fashion, you can talk about shoes and the ways you can make these kind of shoes and the use you would give them. Where would you go with these shoes? Why? In what kind of situations or events would you wear a pair of shoes like this? Or the clothes that you can find in the different shops in the tourist places in Jujuy. Again, stories are very important. What do you think am I carrying in that bag? Or what do you think Linda bought in that black bag? Which of the ponchos do you think she bought? Or here, you need to talk about hats, aguayos, the texture, the price. Look at the price. When do you think this picture was taken that it was at that price? The things were really cheap at that time. So they may guess. You are revising numbers, years, colors. As I always tell my trainees at the Profesorado, why are teachers always teaching colors with that spot and the color inside? You have so many other things you can make to revise colors. Remember the importance of feelings. This is my son when he was really, really young, kindergarten student, and look at his face. So I make students think about the situation, if he was sad or what was he feeling at the time, why he was feeling like that. And they always reflect on the moment they had to wear those clothes and they say, oh, I know why. It's because you mothers always make us wear those clothes for a certain ceremony during the year. And we don't like doing that, but it's part of the school year, you know, the school year celebration. So kids have to wear that, even if they don't like. And that's how Maxi was feeling at the time. He didn't want to be taking a picture. He didn't want to pose for the picture also, like teenagers now. And here we are again at the same place. This is something that students find familiar too, and they can talk about that. They say, oh, I know where you are. You are at the place where all the cars stop because it's the best place you can take a picture of the mountains. So feelings are important. Why? Because your student may forget the verb to be. They may forget the tenses or the vocabulary, but they will always remember the way you made them feel in class, the things you talked about outside, let's say, the topic of the day, even though as teachers we know that we are always teaching. They don't realize, but we are still practicing and teaching things. You can also use movies as authentic material. In my presentations, well, here you can read that movies show events or places related to the culture, right? We have to think about this, the conversations, the writing topics that we can ask students later. But something that I always use is this movie that is very old. There are two reasons I use Un Argentino en Nueva York. It's with Guillermo Francella. There are two reasons. First, because it's really old and students haven't seen it. So there is the element of surprise there. Second, because he's a very famous actor, so they relate to him because he's still working in different movies in Argentina. So this movie is basically about the adventures of a father, Argentinian father, going to New York to find her daughter that had been there because he's on an exchange trip, but then she decided to stay in the United States and stop calling him, calling the family. They don't know anything about her. So he decided, without speaking English, to travel to the US and find her daughter. So you can see in the different scenes how he struggles with the language, with the culture, and in a fun way because it's a comedy. So I use this clip to work with that. And I ask students, what are the movies can they think about to work or to show culture in Argentina? More than movies, they suggest influencers. They say, oh, we can follow this or that in on TikTok because they talk about culture. So it's like a trigger. The movie is a trigger for them to get interested in foreign people talking about Argentinian culture, not only local culture in Jujuy, but Argentina in general. Music is also very important, as we have seen in the opening video. And the questions that we use before watching a music video are important. So our lesson planning is always present. We cannot just take a video and think on the spot what to ask. We always need to think because children are always one step ahead of us. But the questions will depend on what we want to focus on. If it is vocabulary, if it is verb tenses, or questions about other subjects too. And lately I've been focusing on this too because my students were really interested in art. Do you know the name of Eugenia? You've been here, but have you been to this place where these paintings are?
No, I haven't.
No. What
No.
about you, Mary? Have you visited this little church where the paintings are?
No,
When you came to Jujuy?
no, I didn't get a chance, so I wish I had.
Okay. So is somebody speaking? Somebody wants to say something? Paola? No. Okay. So the paintings are called ángeles arcabuceros. So the arcabuz is the weapon they are carrying, and they are very particular because they are the only paintings where angels are carrying weapons, and they are in a church. So there are different places where you can find them, but the most important thing is that they are in Jujuy as the first place. You see, Iglesia San Francisco in Uquía, Jujuy. It's a very, very tiny town, but everybody goes there because of these paintings. So you just get to the town and go directly to the church to see the Ángeles Arcabuceros. You have another one in Casabindo, and then Bolivia and Peru. And in another, there is a muestra, they say, in Salta, but they are not the original ones. So the original ones are in Uquía, Casabindo, La Paz, and Puno in Peru.
Never been to Puno.
Never been to Puno.
Not yet, not yet. It's very far
Not
from my
yet.
city.
Oh, so the Ángeles Arcabuceros, as you can read here, is a style of painting during colonialism. But the most important thing that I want to point out here is that, wait, here, yes, in Argentina, the Ángeles Arcabuceros de Uquía, they are the only ones painted with their names on them. So I want the students to feel proud of that there is the only place in the world where you can find these paintings are in Jujuy because of this special characteristic that they have their names on it. So to make them feel proud about their culture is so important for me. How can we incorporate more elements of culture then? With project work, as we generally do, but sometimes it is only 1 or 2 classes. And in fact, working with food takes longer. Working with foods or making videos takes longer. We can also have native speakers invited to the classes, and we can present nationwide if we partner with schools in other provinces, because it's not only the local culture is not only different from foreign culture, but also from local cultures in Argentina, in another parts of the country. So here we are sharing with people from Buenos Aires how to prepare the different local food from Jujuy, and also with people from the south of the country. This was a project some time ago. So let's recap. We have to concentrate on using surface culture topics like arts, customs, food, holidays that are relevant to our local context, and provide students with opportunities to engage in critical thinking and cross-cultural elements. And remember, we have to avoid any possible risk of offending students, so don't go into religion, please. Religion is very, very important for students, for everybody. As a conclusion, I would say that we have to work with material we feel comfortable with. For example, if you take me to cooking, I wouldn't feel comfortable. But if you take me to traveling, I can be talking endlessly because I love traveling, but I don't cook. And we can let our students help us with the technology if we don't feel comfortable with it. We can let our colleagues help us with the knowledge they have on other subjects. And we shouldn't be afraid of creating our own material. Why not writing a book, Jaime? You asked me, have you written a book?
Not?
Why not writing a book?
Why not?
Why not? When I go to in-person conferences and I show the books to the participants, they say, oh, I can do this, because they see that it's a small book, it's just a story of a little girl in your own town. And they start dreaming about that, This is so funny to see their faces that I can do this, the aha moment. And don't be afraid of getting anonymous feedback, or not anonymous, if you dare, because we grow with that. We grow personally and professionally. And remember, this is what people see, and this is what we really do. All this work down here is done by us, but people only see, that it was, just a little book, No. It was a lot of work, sometimes a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, persistence, but in the end, we succeed. And remember, no matter how many mistakes we make or how slow we progress, we are always way ahead of everyone who isn't trying. So thank you very much, my dear friends, for staying, for bearing with the technology things. And I hope you follow me on the different social media, and we keep in touch talking about culture. I hope you liked it, Marcela. Paola, the ones who just joined.
Eugenia, Ofelia, Marcela Danowski, José Lobo from Colombia, Felipe from Colombia, Freddy Garita, and myself. Well, if you stop sharing your screen, Marcela, so we can have a talk, all of us, about, okay, we invite anybody to talk about your comments, give your points of view. Hello, dear Marcela Danowski, to say something about culture and the and Marcela's presentation. So, who wants to start?
I'll be happy to start. Thank you so much, Marcela.
Okay.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. And hello, other Marcela too. You get to be Marcela too today, Marcela D. And I really loved it, Marcela, the
Yes.
sharing the local
Marcela D.
culture. Yeah. Marcela B. I like the sharing of the local culture and bringing in how we can use our local culture for students to connect with the language and feel pride in their own local culture. I loved it. And of course you have such a, well, all cultures do, but you guys have such a beautiful, vibrant cultural center. And it made me want, I still have a few alfajores in my freezer from my trip to Argentina last month, and I might eat one today because of you.
Thank you.
And
So happy
taste a
to
little-
hear that.
Yeah,
Mary,
taste a
you
little
should try
culture.
nueces confitadas from Jujuy. They are my
Ooh.
favorite.
Oh.
They have
Yum.
nuts covered with dulce de leche and a special frosting they prepare. Those are fantastic. Those are fantastic. So the next time we meet, I promise I will get some for you.
I would love that. I think even if we only focus on food and culture, I think that's amazing. But
Yeah,
I really loved it,
absolutely.
Marcela. I loved how you
Yeah.
brought all of that in and
Oh,
makes it
thank
really
you, thank you.
accessible
I
for
think that
teachers.
the idea of sharing, I know that you can read a lot of theory about it. There are lots of books. Jaime asked me if I feel proud about anything I have done before. And I can say that I have organized the FAPI conference back in 2003 first, which was specifically about culture. So we brought Michael Byram from the UK, culture, and here
Oops.
Those were times where you print the apps, you know.
What a pity, because what she is saying is really interesting. FAPI is a very big conference. It happened last weekend in our country, in Tucumán, very near Jujuy. It takes place once a year. And I had the chance to visit Jujuy many times, but not the last, but the previous one was when Marcela organized her second FAPI conference in Jujuy, which was a real success, a real success. And as she was thinking, as I mentioned, the nueces confitadas, I was thinking about, I had not known about nueces confitadas before going to Jujuy many years ago. So this idea of having like different cultures within our own country, because in general you think of cultures around the globe and around the world, but within your own country you can have many different cultures as well. Here you are back, Marcel.
I am back. Yes, and that was in 2003. And then in 2022, we organized another one, and I had the pleasure of having you all here. Not the pleasure of having Jaime, and who I thought was coming to Tucumán this year, but he couldn't make it. Not yet.
But next
Probably
year, by promise next
yeah.
year.
So in 2023, it wasn't specifically about culture, but people were more aware of everything because of the social media, you know? People knew where they were coming, what they will find, and I know that they liked it. Didn't you, Eugenia and Marce?
Yes, I was, when you were offline, I was telling them about that last FAB in Jujuy, which was a huge success.
It was
Yeah.
brilliant. It was brilliant. Super well organized with amazing speakers. Yes, one of the top 5.
Thank
Yes,
you.
definitely.
So any other comment that you would like to have about the presentation or culture in general?
Yes,
I think
yeah, go on, Marcela.
I think it is important to include the local culture and make at least my trainees at Profesorado aware how important it is to teach ways of telling the world about your culture, teaching students from a very young age to explain how local food is prepared, what they taste like, to imagine you come to Jujuy and you are offered humita. Students don't know how to say choclo, hay que hervir, so you teach a lot of verbs, a lot of local ingredients, and it's just talking about food. Imagine talking about the weather. You always teach the weather with the topic in the books from England, or England more than the United States. And then all of a sudden you have something totally different here. And this is something I learned with my ex-husband. ¡Ay, qué feo! With my ex-husband, because we used to take friends to the different places in Jujuy. And on
I've
the
been
way,
there.
yes, on the
I was
way,
one of those.
as he knew more about the place more than me. So on the way to the different places, he would be explaining the friends in English. So look, the vegetation here is totally different from the previous one, because the rainy season here is from this month to this month. He would be talking in English about Jujuy. And I loved that, because I used to take that to my classes too. And tell the students how to explain some things that we considered common. Nobody would talk about the plants to a friend, but to a visitor, you have to explain why there aren't any cacti nearby, and then all of a sudden you have them in certain places, or why in other places you stop having cacti, and you have other plants. So I love that part of teaching culture.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it has to do with when you give your students, when you open this window to your students, you're also opening the window of traveling and presenting their own culture to the world. And when we meet people from other cultures, that's what we do. We want to talk about our own country, our own places.
Thank you, dear Eugenia.
Thank you,
Jose Lobo
Marcel.
from Colombia, my good friend Jose Wolf, wants to make a question. Go on, dear Jose.
Yes. Thank you, Jaime, and wonderful presentation. I have a question to the presenter. Sorry about if my voice cuts off. Why do you think language programs focus so much on grammar and structure instead of helping students understand culture and real communication, at least in this area of Latin America? Thank you.
Well, that this is something I always, again, talk to my students, my trainee teachers at the Profesorado in Jujuy. Is like, we have been taught that we have to go step by step with what is presented in books. But these teachers I have shown you in the presentation, they have took a step ahead, and they say, okay, I'm working with the book. I have the units prepared. I have the grammar that I am supposed to teach, but I need to adapt this to my context. So this is what we should be doing, adapting material and not using it step by step, because nobody forces us. We have to teach the grammar, yes. We have to teach the vocabulary, but nobody says how we should teach them.
Right. Agree. Anybody else, please, who wants to say something about culture or the presentation? Ofelia, Freddy, Felipe, or Monica, or Marcela? Marcela
I
D.
wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, dear Jose.
Thank you, Jose.
See you in Piura, Peru next year in July for our international conference.
Yes, I will be there.
Thank you so much. Well, I was listening to you, Marcela, and I could remember Gabriel Diaz Maggioli from Uruguay always talking about this because he said, "Why should I change my Uruguayan, Peruvian, or Colombian accent when speaking in English? Why we cannot have exams like Cambridge exams and create our own Latin American exams? Why not creating material devoted to students who are part from Latin America, which are different from the other things?" And I think that your presentation has to do a lot with that topic. Culture is so important. I guess that when we travel, the most important thing is meeting people. Number one, meeting people. Number two, the food. Number three, music. Number four, identity. Number five, clothing. Number six, animals. Number seven, wow. And there are these people who say that culture has 150 different meanings. So the spectrum is really, really big. So thank you, Marcela. Personally, I want to thank you for talking about this very important topic. Anything else you want to say? Anyone else before we say thank you to Marcela? Anyone else?
I'm afraid I couldn't be here the whole presentation, but as always, it is such a pleasure to listen to Marce. And once again, I can't agree anymore with what you were saying. I mean, somehow dealing with culture allows our students to have some voice and choice, no? Something that they can relate to. And it's a way of contextualizing the way in which we're teaching. I mean, we're talking about grammar. It's about making it more meaningful for everybody.
I have a question for you, Marce.
Marce Diobi.
I've noticed that you call yourself Marce, Gusta, Euge. Is that something cultural in Argentina?
It
Yes,
is. It is. It's a friendly way of making us feel right that we are in a community, that we are friends. I mean, it
So,
has to do with our Argentinian
so
culture.
in Argentina, I would be hi.
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 Or G, yeah, or J, maybe J.
What about
Yeah, why
Mary?
not?
She
As you
would be,
please.
what about Mary? So she would be Mar instead of Mary.
No,
Mar?
because she would be Mari, because
Mari.
Maria is the name in Spanish. Maria, Mari.
Okay, so this is interesting, right? If we start talking about ways of speaking, accent, words, different definitions, etc. For example, in Piura, if you see a boy, a little boy, you say churre. If you go to Chile, they say cabrito. If you go to Argentina, you say pibe, right?
Exactly.
And what about Costa
But you
Rica,
say,
Mary?
wait, but you say pibe in Buenos Aires or that area, and you say chango where I live.
Okay. Say hello to all the changos in Jujuy. And what about you, Marion? What do you call the little boys, the little girls in Costa Rica?
There's a Costa Rican word that is huila.
Huila.
Mm-hmm.
We should have a round table, I don't know, on this
Yes.
topic, right? Talking
In
about
your
the deep.
international conference, we can do that.
Yes,
You know,
we should. We
back
should.
in the day, back when Jaime came to Costa Rica, we would usually have courses with people from many different countries in Latin
Yes.
America. And we would put up a poster and we just put the words up and then each country, what that word was.
Yes, and some of those words were, I don't know, swearing words in different countries.
Sometimes they were words that were not appropriate for all
Yes.
people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
Well,
that's what students love.
Yeah.
yeah, they
They love
do.
Yeah.
learning that.
Well, we also love them.
Yeah.
I guess the first words we learned in English were bad words, right? Inappropriate words. Well, this is time for you, Marcela, to say your final words today. And once again, thank you so much, Marcela Burgos, because you have a very busy agenda. You are a VIP in Argentina. It's very difficult to connect with you. You are traveling, buying, doing shopping, taking students outside the country, and doing social work. I've noticed that in your Facebook account. So thank you so much. And your final words today, dear Marcela.
Thank you all for being here today. Thank you for Jaime for letting me be part of the community. I feel honored to be sharing with so many people from around the world. This is amazing. And I hope to see you next year. Meeting, right?
Yeah.
Could you hear me or
Say that again because there were
not?
some internet problems.
Hi. Okay, that I feel honored to belong to this international community that you created. Thank you very much. And I do hope that we can meet next year in person in Piura for your international meeting.
Please, Mary will be here, you will be here, and anybody who wants to be here, please start saving up some dollars, some money. Piura is not that cheap. Peru is not, sorry, is not that expensive. Peru is not that expensive. The food will be your number one cultural aspect. Mary has been here twice, three times, four times, right, Mary? But never in Piura.
Mhm.
But never in Piura. So
I don't know how the food is in Piura. I need to find out.
the best in Peru, the best
And
fish,
Jaime, I just
meat.
want to add in that there's a few people in the Facebook leaving messages too for Marcela, just
Please
saying
read
that
them out.
that it was a great presentation. We have Ana Milagros Millones and
Chibolos, she
Victor
said.
Enrique Tume Palacios all saying thank you, and Berta Garcia and all saying thank you for a great presentation. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
So
Thank you,
thank you,
Mary, for sharing.
Yeah, thank you everyone in the 5 continents and outer space. And before you leave, before you go, let me just remind you who is presenting on October the 19th. We will have our guest speaker from Brastisol, Isadora Pereira. Eu preciso falar com você. She will be talking about do you walk your walk, professional development, your journey, your responsibility. Beautiful topic. Thank you once again, Marcela, Mary, Marce D, Marce B, Monica, Freddy. Thank you so much, and Felipe Moreno, and of course, my dear good friend Jose Lobo. Thank you, everyone. Have a good Sunday and see you on October 18th. Bye bye.
Thank you all.
Bye bye
Thank you
bye.
so much.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye, friends.
Bye bye. Bye bye, friends.